Money FM 89.3, the best of Saturday mornings. Saturday morning sit down.
And we are going to talk about coexisting with our furry neighbors here. Singapore is launching the first ever multilingual wildlife advisories. Now, these are going to educate and empower Singapore's different communities on how to safely and respectfully respond when they encounter local wildlife in our urban environment, which we know happens all the time. And to talk to us more about this and what it exactly means, Kalai and Balakrishnan, the co-CEO of ACRES, Animal Concerns Research and Education Society. Of course, our friend of the show comes often to chat with us about animal issues. And Jasvic Lai, who is the campaign manager for Our Wild Neighbors, or OWN, which they are the group that is putting this effort together. Welcome, Jasmine. Let's start. Jasmine, let's start with you. What is this thing exactly? What are we doing here?
Hi, thanks for having me. Yeah. So the multilingual advisory really started from the idea of trying to engage the diverse community in Singapore, because we have so many different language communities, from the migrant workers all the way to our locals who are more fluent in Chinese, Malay and Tamil. So that's where we really want to reach out to them with all the key messages on coexistence.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And can we just take a step back for the benefit of our listeners? Our Wild Neighbours. You're the campaign manager. It's known as OWN. What is it? What does it do?
So our Wild Neighbours is a nationwide outreach program, and we want to promote coexistence. So the reason why we set up this campaign is because we realize that a lot of the negative human-wildlife interaction really stems from the lack of understanding, as well as the lack of preparedness when people encounter wildlife. So that's where we really want to reach out to people, like, let's say, even the heartlanders and those frontliners on what to do when they see wildlife or when they start to interact with them.
So is OWN like an umbrella organisation? You work with Jane Goodall Institute, you work with ACRES. What is OWN's remit?
We collaborate with all of them.
Okay.
So we bring together all the nature groups in Singapore, and we find creative ways and how we can reach out to all these different communities to do different things. Yeah. Whereas whether it is through talks or through fun and games. So yeah, that's everything that we do.
Kalai, let's bring you into the conversation. Of course, ACRES is always on the front line with NParks and others when a wild animal encroaches in human territory, or sometimes humans encroaching in wild territory. So tell us about this idea of some members of our community not understanding what exactly to do, and how this program by OWN might help solve that.
Hey, morning, guys. So, ACRES, we do a variety of things. One of it is, of course, wildlife rescue. But, a lot of the animals that we rescue don't actually need to be rescued.
Right.
We often are rescuing them because people are fearful of them, or don't understand them. So that is where entities like OWN can come in, where they strive to educate and reach out and clear all these misconceptions, teach people more about coexistence and the need to do it, because we are urbanizing even more. Wild animals are going to venture into urban areas even more. So I think Singaporeans as a community, we need to understand that this is a natural part of living in a very urban city like Singapore, and how do we, live alongside these animals.
But just to follow up, your team is multilingual. I don't know if they speak all the languages and dialects in Singapore, but your team already is quite good at communicating with different communities in Singapore when they happen upon these circumstances. Is putting this now into 8 languages, is that a real big benefit from your perspective, and how to deal with these animals?
Our team is quite multilingual, but very often, like when we go into construction sites, or I think Jasvic and me had a discussion about this. Usually, when people encounter wild animals, it's the migrant community that are the first responders. Whether it's a snake in a home, where maybe the domestic helper sees the snake first, or in a construction site when they're clearing forest, the foreign workers see the animals first.
Yeah.
So what they do, what is their first reaction, is very crucial. From where they could be coming from, maybe it could be a norm, if it's a snake, it could not be a protected species as well.
Just kill it or something, for example.
Could be. So over here, we want them to understand that these animals are protected. At the same time, what to look out for. They don't need to be worried. Who can they call? What can they do? What are the signs to look for? So it's important that we get this information out there, and we hope that migrant communities can actually spread the messaging as well.
Yeah.
Jasvic, this is such a good idea, and it was Kalai who gave me this thought of, they're the first responders. Migrant workers on construction sites, often clearing land, unfortunately, but clearing forests. They come across macaques and monitor lizards, snakes, and so on. So you've got the 8 languages for these advisories: Bengali, Burmese, Bahasa, Malayu, Mandarin, Tagalog, Tamil, and Thai. So 2 questions. Why those 8 languages? How did you decide? And how are you getting these advisories out to the right people?
So why these 8 languages is because we have identified that they are most of our community are speak these languages. So whether they are in the construction industry, landscaping, and also security, we are not missing them out as well.
I never thought of landscaping. Yes, you'd come across a lot of wildlife landscaping. Yeah.
So that's how we decided on these different languages. Of course, Malay, Chinese, and Tamil is because that's the common one in Singapore. So your next question, sorry.
How do you get the advisories out to these communities?
So how we do it is, first, we have it on our website, www.ourwildneighbors.sg. That's a one-stop platform for all the different information. And we also have resource kits and all the advisories, including the English ones that people can download. Yeah, so that's one way. We will also be going down and collaborating with different migrant communities and reaching out to them. So that's our future plan.
I was going to talk to Kalai about that, because I know Kalai does fantastic work. I've seen you do it in the past with the migrant workers. Talk about some of that you've gone into the dorms, how you get this message across.
In my years of rescuing wildlife, I have rescued many wildlife in dorms or construction sites. So when we go there, for me, I speak Tamil. I'm a Tamil. So it's interesting. When you can speak their language, they are more likely to absorb what you're saying.
Sure.
Because they can relate to you. So I think that is very crucial. Even when I know sometimes I encounter Chinese workers, and instead of saying python, I can say mangsi. And the moment they understand, they know that, I know, then they can relate, they will listen even more. So knowing their language, or talking on their level, is very important in how we can reach out to them.
What are some of the common misconceptions, question for both of you, but Kalai first, that you encounter with the domestic helpers, the migrant workers? Because as Glenn said, depending on where they're from, they're going to interact with wildlife in a different way. So what are some of the common issues, misconceptions you come across?
So one classic one is reptiles in general, just snakes. So, whether they are Indian workers or Bangladeshi workers, where they come from, people dying from snake bites, it's a real thing. And it happens a lot. It happens a lot. Or even in the Philippines or Indonesia and so on. So usually they may have heard rumors, gossips, or actual cases of people passing away from snake bite venom. So the fear is genuine. So when they come here, but they don't know about snakes, they may not know the species and all that.
Yeah.
So when they come here, the fear is real. So when they see a snake, their reaction to it is usually negative. Or, or this is a very colorful snake. I'm told that it's highly venomous. I know someone who has passed away. So from that, they tend to maybe harm the snake or kill the snake. That is one classic example.
What about you, Jasvic? On the ground, what do you come across?
For me, is, let's say, macaques. Yeah, macaques, they communicate through different facial expressions, body language. Yeah, and that's where people think that we want to project ourselves onto animals. So we respond to their facial expression, but it gets misinterpreted, and that's where things may not go as planned.
Explain why. I know why, but you should explain why for the listeners.
Okay, so one common example is the macaque smiling. So they will bare their teeth, they will look at you, but people think that they are smiling, and that's a positive thing, but actually that indicates like fear, anxiety, and it could potentially escalate to them trying to warn you to back away. Yeah, so people think that the animal is showing me a certain expression, a certain response, so I need to react with it. But most of the time, you don't actually need to do anything. Just don't have any eye contact and walk away.
Back away. Yeah. How does this information actually work? You mentioned a website where they can download something. Okay, they come across a snake, they come across a macaque, they come across a monitor lizard. Do they have to go to the website, find the thing, and then find their language, and then pull up a PDF? Like is it easy for them to find the information quickly? Because in a lot of times they're like in a there's a snake right there in front of them. They got to figure out what to do fast. How do they access the information?
So the website itself is more of a education platform. So there's blogs, there's also information, ecological information on the animals, and yes, definitely advisories, resource kits. But let's say if they require assistance for rescuing animals, they can contact acres or NParks, and the number is actually listed on our website.
Yeah. Kalai, on that point, you mentioned the snakes, you mentioned the monkeys. What were the key points that went into these advisories, the basic do's and don'ts that not just migrant workers, but we all need in these unexpected interactions with wildlife? What were the key advisory points?
I think one of the things is these advisories were designed not so much like what to do at the point when you see the animal,
right?
Is to absorb the information way ahead. So I think one great way these advisories will work is if in a construction site, for example, if the supervisors can help distribute the information so they absorb, so that later on, they can pick on key information like, some of the what snakes you can see, what to do. Don't go near the snake. Obviously, if you're afraid of the snake, don't go near the snake. If you see the macaque, what are the simple expressions that you can take back, like what to look out for and all that. So it's very simple information. We don't want to make it too complicated.
Right.
Yeah.
And anyone's in the home, I'm thinking more about domestic helpers. We've had some monkey incursions in Pongal and other places. What home-based advisories have you included, Jasvic?
Home-based advisory is usually to call the rescue hotlines, whether acres or NParks, is because most of the time these animals, they are disorientated. I mean, they definitely don't want to go inside your house for no reason, right? So let's say a monitor is inside because probably the monitor was hunting for a prey and the prey seek like coverage inside someone's home, and that's where the monitor follow and suddenly realize that I don't really know where to go now. So even macaques, when they enter houses, which is very common actually, is because they are looking for food. So in these instances, that's where they need to seek help.
Well, it's a great effort to try this ongoing effort that I know Acres has been working on for a long time to keep people and animals separate, let them stay in their own little zones and be safe in that way. If someone wants to get more information from OWN about this information that they could maybe pass on to their foreign workers, how do they find you? Where do they go?
The main one is our website. So our whole campaign is actually anchored on the website. That's why it's a one-stop platform. It's always evolving. When we realize that certain information is required, we will add it on to the website. Other than that, we also do a lot of outreach program. We actively connect with libraries, the public, whether it is the HDB or community centers. So this is what we do. Or even we will rope in our partners for our event. So like recently, early last month, we had our inaugural carnival on coexistence. So that's where everyone came together for a gamified outreach.
I was there. It was very good.
Oh, thanks.
Final word to Kalai briefly. Last time you was on the show, big fundraising year for you. You got government clearance to work on the land around the Acres Centre. Where are you at?
So, I mean, we've been fundraising a lot. Our gala ended last month. And
I heard you had a good MC for that gala. Was it?
Yes, of course. It was Neil himself who helped us so generously, and really thank you so much, Neil. Yeah,
who may or may not have helped to raise money. I don't know.
Don't make it about me. Carry on. Carry on.
So humble.
I haven't seen you blush like that in a while. Interesting.
I raised so much money for them. You wouldn't believe it.
Sorry, Kalai. Carry on.
No, but as an NGO, the fundraising continues forever.
Yeah.
It never stops. We are right now, there's two things that we're working on. One is, of course, the back area. We want to develop it. We are getting quotations right now.
And for what? What purpose is this going to serve eventually?
So we're going to do this in phases. We can't do it all in one shot. And we're going to start at the front first. So we're looking at some basic infrastructure like water line, electricity. There's none of that behind. There's one small building there that we need to refurbish and make it look new again. And then we're going to change some of the fencing. So we're going to start off with that. And then we're already getting quotations for new enclosures for the animals in. How much will it cost to repair some of these enclosures? So we raised about close to 300K from the gala dinner.
Are you allowed to say what some of these quotations are, just to give a ballpark figure for our public, the kind of money you need?
So, for example, we have an existing old big cage in this back area that was built like more than a decade ago, and that cage is run down. And that will be a very key, important infrastructure that we will need for our animals. But to make it new again, to repair it, is going to cost upwards of 30K just for that 20-meter long cage. So it's things like that. So we'll do that in phases. While we are doing that, I believe October 1st, we're going to start a new fundraiser because we are also working on our pig-nosed turtle repatriation, which I also mentioned at our gala dinner. So this will be a landmark repatriation of 30 of our pig-nosed turtles. It's something that we're still working on because we are discussing with the Indonesian authorities. But yeah, if it happens, it will be the biggest repatriation we have ever done.
Wow,
Nice.
Fantastic.
Hey, thanks to both of you for coming in. Kalai from Acres and Jasvic from OWN, our wild neighbors. Great to have you with us. Good luck with keeping our furry friends safe.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Glenn and Neil.